the 2009 Legislative Conference Spouses Celebration of Leadership of Arts. It is indeed a phenomenal program tonight, and we want to take this opportunity to also acknowledge the wonderful musical sounds tonight from Marcus Johnson. Can we have a nice round of applause for him, if we may? Wonderful. Tonight's theme, by the way, is reinvest, rebuild, and simply renew. We are so proud that this is the 13th annual Legislative Arts Gala. And of course, the spouses have definitely done their thing again. And to do a salute and tribute to tonight's stellar celebration, we will crown tonight the 2009 Visual and Performing Arts Scholarship recipients, and also we will also bestow the Lifetime Achievement Honor to two legends, artists internationally known, Mr. Sam Gilliam. Wonderful. Let's try that once more. We will pay tribute tonight to two very special people, internationally known artist Sam Gilliam. And also, you know him as the character Medea, but he's a movie writer, director, producer, none other than Mr. Tyler Perry. We're gonna do it again. Mr. Tyler Perry. Babu. Well, tonight will indeed be remarkable and definitely a celebratorial event. We pay tribute and triumph as well as invaluable investments to all generations to come. All right, next we're going to have a performance from our ballerina. Please welcome her, if you will.
Yeah. his face, if you were faced with him and all his glory, what would you ask if you had just one question? Yeah. Yes. 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 I know God is great and yes. 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 Yes, He is. God is good and yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. What if God was one of us? God was one of us. Just as love like some of us. Love like some of us. Just a stranger, all of us, trying to make His way home. Oh no, need to know, y'all, if God had a face, what would it look like? And would you wanna see it? Seeing men that you will have to believe in things like heaven and in Jesus and the saints and all His prophets, y'all. Yeah, 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 yeah. God is know that He's great, y'all. Trying to fool myself and oh, God is He's good and yeah, 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 yeah. What if God was one of us? God was one of us. Just as love like some of us. Love like some of us. Just a stranger, all of us, trying to make His way home. Yeah. What if God? What if He was here? I'm wondering if He was you want me. What if God? Oh, He was one of us. Oh, my God, what if God? He was here. I wanna know, I gotta know, I wanna know, I gotta know if He was one of us.
At this time, you know, it's really wonderful to see so many young people with such great talent. Clearly, you just saw that for yourself. And because of that, many oftentimes the promise is not realized. You have to overcome some barriers, which many of us have overcome many odds. I sure have, coming from a small town of Great Falls and 13 brothers and sisters, the youngest of them all. And they all were pastors too, by the way. And I promised God, I said, God, I don't want to marry a pastor. You know what happened? I did. So, on that note, you have to have faith, but you also have to have the dreams of a history maker. And that is what our honoree, Mr. Sam Gilliam, his approach to art has been. Since the early 60s, Sam Gilliam has been recognized as an original, color-filled painter. He advanced the inventions associated with the Washington Color School and abstract expressionism to a whole new level. Mr. Gilliam is a native of Mississippi, but a resident of the world. Mr. Gilliam has undoubtedly left an imprint in our world today. On behalf of the CBC spouses, I am honored and I'm very privileged, truly, Mr. Gilliam, and I do say that from the bottom of my heart. Congratulations to you tonight. You indeed deserve this honor, award, and the CBC spouses have done so tonight by acknowledging you to the world. Please put your hands together for Mr. Sam Gilliam.
This evening, the awards have been done for each one of our awardees by the wonderful, very well-known international artist, Martha Jackson Jarvis. Ms. Jarvis, can you come up and help us to give your works to these two honorees, please?
Thank you. Here comes Sam. Sam is a sweetie. You're fabulous. going to speak?
I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you for allowing me to sit next to Tyler Perry. Thank you for having a very good friend of mine, Martha Jackson Jarvis, give me an award. And thank you for allowing me to meet the young scholars and the future of this country. And it's an interesting thing. If you're number 7 in a family of 8, and they say that you can't be an artist, that's the best thing that could happen. So thank you.
I'm so proud to be a part of this and celebrate Sam Gilliam. Sam Gilliam is one of our treasures in the United States of America, and Sam is much too modest. Sam is known all over the world, and any art history book you would like to look in, you can look up Sam Gilliam, so he is one of our great treasures. Thank you.
Our next and final honoree is an award-winning actor, writer, producer, director, and entrepreneur. Whether commanding the stage, television, or big screen, you all know who I'm talking about. He has masterminded these mediums to serve as a backdrop for all of his tales of personal tribulations and inspiring triumph. Standing tall in stature and equally as present in his faith, Mr. Tyler Perry has long-eyed, ordered place in Tinseltown, of course, in our hearts. We all watch his movies. During an era when the reflection and representation of African Americans in show business distorted the true depth of who we are and whom we are, he has brought it to light today. A maverick, a megastar, a masterful visionary. In late 2008, Tyler Perry Studios etched its own chapter in the history books, and he became the first, and I say first, African American to own a studio in the country. It brings me great honor to acknowledge our honoree for the evening, our second honoree, Mr. Tyler Perry.
She said, say a few words. That means be quick. I just want to tell you all, thank you so much for this, to the Congressional Black Caucus and the spouses who have done this great thing. I think it's so wonderful to be able to pass on all of the great things that we've received in this country to when I look at the students and their talent and how smart they are and just how brilliant they are and how they can change the world. I'm sure that somebody along the way patted them on the back and said, you know, you can do this. And even if they haven't as of yet, I'm here to tell you, you can do it. It doesn't matter what anybody tells you. Growing up in my house, and many of you know this, my father was an interesting person. He would tell me, you know, you're never going to be anything, you're never going to make anything out of yourself. And I would hear this voice inside of me say, that's not true. That's not true. And that was my God voice, and it's still in me today at 40. It keeps me grounded, it keeps me straight. And I tell you, as long as you listen to it and follow it, there is nothing you can't do. And there are so many things in this country that we thought we'd never see. And look at us with President Barack Obama, First Lady Michelle, who I love and adore. And I'm grateful again to all of you for this opportunity, for this beautiful, it makes me think I can paint. Sitting next to Sam Gilliam, I feel like I'm going home and try some watercolors. Don't worry about it, it'll be a mess. But again, I thank you so much. God bless you, I appreciate it. So thank you.
Thank you so much. And getting him together with these children and our Sam Gilliam together, it's got to be a good thing. And so I thank you so much for coming. Yeah.
And now it brings extreme delight to all of you, to all of our centerpieces for the evening, the chair of the actual CBC spouses. I'm very honored, Mrs. Simone Marie Meeks, wife of Congressman Gregory Meeks of New York.
Well, here we are. Good evening. Oh, thank you very much. And welcome to the 2009 CBC Spouses Celebration of Leadership in the Fine Arts. I'm grateful that you're all here. Let me start by saying what is probably politically incorrect, but what I'm hearing in my head, and that is, oh my Lord, to be young, gifted, and black. Yvette, Javon Miller, Ashley Jackson, I'm telling you, there are some folks dancing outside the graves today. I thank you so much. We are proud to carry on the tradition of hosting the opening event for the annual Legislative Conference. In conjunction with the conference theme of Reinvest, Rebuild, and Renew, our program will recognize the lifetime achievements of artistic emblems in our community, which you've just heard, Mr. Sam Gilliam and Mr. Tyler Perry. If you would give them another hand of applause. While we mark the matchless achievements of these outstanding individuals, we are extremely honored to celebrate each of you and your renewed support of the CBC, the CBCF, and the CBC spouses. So please give yourselves a round of applause. And I'm going to break protocol a little bit because I'm a child that grew up in the political realm. And what we always do, despite what the program says, is acknowledge the giants in the room. We've acknowledged the performing and visual artists. We have not acknowledged the members of Congress. And if you would, stand as I call your name, Congresswoman Carrie Meek. Congressman Green. Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee. Congressman John Lewis. Congresswoman and our very own MD, Donna Christensen. And I'm missing, excuse me, our majority leader is in the house. Mr. Clyburn, would you please stand? And our future senator, not my husband, but the Honorable Kendrick Meek of Florida. But my husband is in the house. His name is Gregory Weldon Meeks of New York. Congressman Bobby Scott is also in the house. If I'm missing anybody else, somebody needs to tell me. Oh my goodness. Mr. Congressman Preacher Man, who turned New York City upside down the other day when he told our comptroller that he will be the mayor, the Honorable Congressman Cleaver. I thank you all for being present because we are here because you are here. Now, committed, innovative, dutiful, spirited, and tireless. All of these adjectives serve to portray the portrait entitled The CBC Spouses. This body of dynamic and fearless men and women not only support our spouses and our individual families, but we champion the causes of the American family. And if you would, I know it's just spouses, but I need a little silence. Please join me in acknowledging my friends and my fellow members of the CBC spouses. When I call your name, if you would please stand. Now, we spouses also have our very own protocol, and we start with our dean, the Honorable Alma Rangel. Next, we have the Honorable Emily Clyburn. The Honorable Gwen Towns of New York. I'm not sure she's here, but Mrs. Lillian Lewis, the partner of our own civil rights hero, John Lewis. My very special friend, Mrs. Yuleda Watt. Then I move back to our officers. Our co-chair, Mrs. Alfreda Scott of Georgia. Our secretary, Mrs. Ivy Clay, St. Louis. Our very own attorney, Mrs. Marita Davis Johnson of Georgia. My quiet cousin, the Honorable Leslie Meek of Florida. She is the immediate past chair of the spouses. The Honorable Vivian Crichton Bishop. Mr. Christian Christensen, is he here? We call him the spice of the spouses. Mrs. Diane Cleaver. Who am I missing? Our very own parliamentarian, Mrs. Vera Davis, my leader. Am I missing any of the spouses in the room? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell you that former Education Secretary Richard W. Riley, who served under Bill Clinton, said, "I believe arts education in music, dance, theater, and visual arts is one of the most creative ways we have to find gold that is buried beneath the surface. And that is what our scholarships aim to do. We aim to find the diamonds in the bedrock of our nation." If you would, lower your voices, please. Ladies and gentlemen, the people being honored tonight are our visual and performing artists, and they are not yet known as Sam Gilliam and Tyler Perry, but I guarantee you, you will know some of their names for the rest of your lives, so this is your first opportunity to hear their names. Proceeds from tonight's celebration will fund our two main scholarships. The Performing Arts Scholarship was developed in 2000 to honor the late Curtis Mayfield, and the Visual Arts Scholarship, which was established in 2006. Before I introduce my esteemed event chair, the talented Mrs. Gaines Glorwin, I need to illustrate the impact of the CBC spouses. Since our inception, more than 20 years ago, we have awarded more than $9 million in scholarship to worthy students across America. This year, 10 students will be awarded the CBC Spouses Heineken USA Performing Arts Scholarship from a record 407 applications. Additionally, 10 talented students will be awarded CBC Spouses Visual Arts Scholarships thanks to the generosity of the Walt Disney Company. If you would, give Heineken and Walt Disney a hand. These scholarships are crucial, particularly during a time when tuition costs are rising faster than inflation and education funding is constantly being cut. Likewise, talent alone does not serve as a passport to access and success for African Americans. Thus, it is our responsibility to create pathways to training, to education, pathways to opportunity, and ultimate pathways to excellence. We once again thank you for your we once again thank you and look forward to your continued support in upcoming years. Throughout my tenure as CBC Spouses Chair, I've enjoyed a wealth of marvelous experiences. Working with the gifted spouses of the CBC, I've been able to accomplish what I've been able to accomplish thus far has been wonderful. But I've been able to do it because my spouses are all talented in their own right. No chair of the CBC Spouses stands alone. And when one of us leaves our ranks, as in the case when a member of Congress decides that he is no longer going to be a part of the political realm, sometimes a spouse is considered no longer a part of the spouses organization. But like members of Congress, please, folks, can I get a little bit of quiet? Like members of Congress, once you leave the body, technically, you are always a member of Congress. So too is the case for the spouses of the CBC. So this year, when we were doing our performing arts and visual arts scholarships, our artist in residence, Mrs. Gaines-Glore Wynn, was technically not to be a part of the spouses organization. Now, I don't know where you guys come from, but where I come from, you don't throw family members away, and especially not talented family members. So this spouse, in her wisdom, I will say for myself, called Mrs. Wynn and said, "You're still the artist of the spouses. You still will be the one who chairs this event." And she has done a marvelous job. And so I'd like you to welcome to the stage, please, our very own artist in residence, the very talented painter, Mrs. Gaines-Glore Wynn.
Thank you, Simone. That makes me feel really good. And I feel really good that all of you are here and so supportive of this program. I thank you for your support, all of our sponsors, but I thank these talented students that we have honored here tonight, 20 of them all together. I want you to know that 14 of them, I believe, are here. They're all from across the United States, and they all paid their own way to come here because this means a great deal to them. And I'm very appreciative of that. Let me start over. I want you to know these facts because it amazes me. My friend and fellow member of the Congressional Black Caucus spouse group, we're all like sisters. We all fuss and fight and we all love each other too, I think. And Leslie Meek and I thought that we would give a focus to the celebration of leadership. And since I'm a painter, I said, okay, let's do fine arts. And so when we first put this together, we had 35, and this is what I want you to know. We had 35 applicants from across the country. And we high-fived each other and thought that was fabulous. That was 4 years ago. This last May, out of this group of 20, we had 407 applications. And I could have given, if I'd had the money, a good 100 of those could have been. You saw what was up here today, this evening. There's many more. This country is filled with this talent, and we need to step up with some more scholarship money, and you've done that this evening, and I appreciate that, as well as these students appreciate it. So I thank you. We have two categories. One is visual arts, and one is performing arts. And 4 years ago, Dr. Knight, Dr. Clarence Knight, Dr. Irby of Howard, Yvonne Fleury-Val, it goes on. They sat and looked at all 35 of these applicants. Well, at 407, we just couldn't possibly do it. So what I did was break it into sections. I had to break it into brass. I had to break it into piano. I had to break it into musical comedy, theater, drama. It all had to be broken up. And then I had wonderful people come that were so involved, from Simi Knox to Yvonne to Margaret. All of them came, all these different people came and gave of their time. Meredith Clore looked at the dance. All of these people spent hours looking through and grading all of these 407. I want you to give them a wonderful round of applause for that. Now, I want to thank two sponsors. I want to thank all of our sponsors, but we have a couple of people a couple of corporations who have made these scholarships completely possible. This is about the 10th year that Heineken USA has given us this huge amount for performing arts scholarships. These scholarships are $3,000 each. They pay it. They put it all together for performing arts, and we thank Heineken for that. And is Patrice Webb in the audience? I would love for Patrice to come up and say a few words about Heineken, and then I want the Disney Corporation. They do all of the visual arts scholarship, and we want Richard Bates to come up for Disney after Patrice is finished. We love both of them, and they've been so supportive. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, one other member of Congress has just entered the room. Congressman David Scott, if you'd raise your hand.
Good evening, and I'm actually bringing greetings on behalf of my boss, Dan Tierno, who couldn't be with us this evening. I would just like to ask all of our recipients, both visual and performance artists, scholarship winners, to please stand up. And if we could give them a round of applause. For the singers, when you get your record deal, make sure you give us the deal on the download. Just kidding, just kidding. Thank you very much. I just want to say that I hope everybody enjoys themselves tonight. Thank you to the CBC spouses. Thank you, Mrs. Nguyen, for your leadership on this program, and Mrs. Meeks, and everybody else who's been so supportive of this program, to the CBC spouses staff for all the work that you do to bring everybody into this room this evening, and the other corporate sponsors. Cheers, have a good night, and enjoy responsibly.
Thank you very much. For Bob Billingsley and the Walt Disney Company, we're so very, very excited to be part of this. We want to do this every year, and we plan to do it every year. And all the visual arts students here tonight, they're just fantastic, and I know that we're going to see all of them in Hollywood very soon. So thank you all very much, and I appreciate you letting me speak for a few minutes. Thank you.
One more member of Congress is in the House. Congressman Donald Payne, can you please stand? Thank you.
One more. The beautiful.
We're just going to get this right. When every other member of Congress stands up.
There you go.
North Carolina, Congressman Mel Watts is in the house.
We want to thank Heineken and also the Walt Disney Company for their sponsorship tonight. Before I actually introduce additional sponsors, just want to take this opportunity for all of you. Can you get silent just for a quick moment? Just a little bit there. Just a little. Fabulous. A little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. We are so close to wrapping up the program, but I can't, as a woman and as a strong woman, we have to give a big, thunderous, loud applause to all of the CBC wives, the spouses tonight. Put your hands together. And I'd like for all the men to stand up. If you are a male, men, can you stand for the women tonight? No one, there you go. How about that? Now, ladies, y'all put your hands together and clap for them. There we go. Good. Now, we will have another representative come forward tonight, but before we do that, we have to introduce the recipients of the 2009 CBC Spouses Arts Scholarship. Now, the students will come on stage for a group photo. But for now, please acknowledge Mr. Joshua Blackwell, Mitchellville, Maryland, student, Bowie State University, with Representative Donna Edwards, Congressional District. They will actually join me in the back. So our next student is Mr. Hinian Boone, Washington, D.C., the University of the Arts, Delegate Representative Eleanor Holmes, Norton's Congressional District. Miss Chelsea Harrison, Washington, D.C., New York University, Representative Eleanor Holmes, Norton's Congressional District. Mrs. Ashley Jackson, San Francisco, St. Mary's College. Mrs. Yvette Jones, Pine Hill, New Jersey, Temple University. Mr. Jaron Moore, Olympic Fields, Illinois, Howard University, Representative Jesse L. Jackson Jr.'s Congressional District. Jordan Speakman, Rex, Georgia, Howard University, Representative David Scott's Congressional District. Mrs. Naomi Wally, Homewood, Illinois, New York University, Representative Jesse L. Jackson Jr.'s Congressional District. Next, the recipients of the 2009 CBC Visual Arts Scholarships are Mr. Justin Beasley, Baltimore, Maryland. Maryland Institute College of Art, Representative Elijah E. Cummings, Congressional District. Mrs. Ashley Ga, Falls Church, Virginia, College of Art. Mrs. Jacqueline Pope, Fayetteville, North Carolina, Fayetteville State University. Let us all put our hands together for all of them at this time. All right, students, congratulations once again. Our 2009 recipients. You got enough photos? Y'all good? Congratulations. Let's give them all one big round of applause once more. You all can take your seats now, and you look lovely. We'd like to congratulate two marvelous awardees, though. This year's scholarship recipients, all of the sponsors. We want to thank Mrs. Simone Meeks, Mrs. Gaines, Clore Wen, and all of the CBC spouses. This year's selection committee and all the staff and volunteers have worked so hard tonight. Have you all enjoyed yourselves? It's been very nice? Very nice? And I am very honored to have this opportunity to serve as your host for the evening and MC. I thank you all from the bottom of my heart for giving me this opportunity. Thank you. At this time, please welcome once again Mrs. Simone Marie Meeks, the chair of the Congressional Black Caucus Spouses, to the stage.
Hello. How you doing? Thank you for joining us. Let me take this opportunity to thank the sponsors who made this presentation possible. And that is no laughing matter. If you would, put your hands together for Heineken, the Walt Disney Company, the California Teachers Association, Time Warner, Mass Mutual, Edison International, and News Corporation. Our event tonight would not be successful without the hard work of the leadership and staff of the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation. I need to say that again. The spouses could not be successful without the hard work of the staff of the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation, including the work of the president of the CBCF, Dr. Elsie Scott, and its Chief Operating Officer, Mr. Keith Wright. The CBC spouses have provided the vision for this event, and the CBCF provide the much-needed tentacles that extend our reach for sponsors and daily operations. Please join the spouses, all of our spouses, in giving a well-deserved applause to everyone who makes our work possible. Thank you so much.
It's time to party. Thank you, Sheila. You've done a wonderful MC job, don't you think? She just moved it right along. Thank you. I hope you had a wonderful evening. Come back and we'll do this again, I hope. And have fun. Go have a drink, have some refreshments, and good evening.
Enjoy yourselves. Put your hands together once again for all members of the Congressional Black Caucus. And welcome to the nation's capital to the 2009 annual conference. Enjoy.